Welcome to the show, everyone. And oh my God, it's almost Thanksgiving. I am so excited to be bringing on my first guests. I want to say hi to everybody out there first on Facebook land. So hi to everybody. We're going to share the show a little bit later on. Now, being that it's family, we're going to have a lot of people right now in town Thanksgiving, have a lot of people here. And I want you to listen up, folks, because this is super important. I have with me Gretchen and Dan Clements, and they are the owners of Your Family Extended. Welcome back to the show. You were here once before, and you have such an incredible story that you wanted to share and have been wanting to do that. And I love this story. I want you to first talk about that and what you do, which will bring to why you do it in the first place. So welcome back to the show.
Well, Carol, thank you so much for having us again. We are so thankful to be back. This is the time for family, and so this is perfect. So if you are listening, we want to share our story and why we feel that our company is in the right space where we can help you and help your loved ones. It was in 2022, December, Christmas, and I had gotten called by uncle, and he had lived down in Arizona, down here in Peoria, and we were living in Oregon. Most of his family was in Oregon. He was independent, successful, just an amazing man. And what ended up happening is I called to wish him a Merry Christmas. He told me he was locked out of his car. So when he was locked out of his car, I started making some calls. The police came, found him, and found that he had his keys actually wrapped around his neck. And he just wasn't aware of that. And so when I talked with the police, they said, we really need to have somebody come in and help him. And so my husband and I had driven down from Oregon down and met up with him. When we showed up, he was disheveled. His house was very, very cold, and he was cold, dirty, and he was a man who was always very well kept. He was, the smartest man I knew. He was always put together, and so when we got to this point of seeing that his heat had been turned off. He didn't know that his heat had been turned off. He had plenty of money to pay his bills, but he just wasn't aware that he wasn't paying them. And then we went around, and his electricity was about to be turned off, and he was in a place of real need. He didn't know that Christmas had just happened, actually, or we were in that season. And so when he would call me and we would talk, I knew something wasn't quite right, but I didn't know that it was to the level that it was when we did show up. And so when we came down here, we really had to make this decision of how could we help him the most, and how come we didn't know that he was in this space that he was in. And so that's really what is at the heart of what we're doing. We'd really decided that we didn't want other families to be in that same space, and we didn't want families to be, to know that their loved ones were further away, and that they didn't have the opportunity to check in. And when they call you, oftentimes they're doing just fine, and but it's when they're not calling you, that's the time of concern we ended up finding out.
Well, you said something a second ago, or maybe that you want to do something that would help him. And I thought, in my mind went, not just to help him, but to help the families too that are not here, that are, maybe you work further away, you might live in Arizona, but you're gone a lot, or what have you. Your service that you have started for everybody is a check-in. I want to call it a check-in service. And I want you to explain to everybody what it is, how it works. I know you've added a few things to it because of the need that it's so big here. But I first want you to talk about how you can just, have somebody that can come in and check in on things, just to make things that are okay, and be the eyes and ears of the people out there that can't be there. Or they don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want you to talk about that.
I want to add too, I actually have my own father lives in Idaho. My mom is in Oregon. And so when I plan to text my dad or I call my dad and he doesn't answer, I start getting worried because they both live by themselves. And so I understand what it's like when you have people that you can't check in on them all the time.
I do too.
And so really, it does come back to us going into the home, checking in, being the eyes and ears, making sure that your loved one is, their heat is on, that they are paying their bills, but more than that they're okay. They're not wandering off to places they shouldn't be wandering off to, that they're coherent in their conversation. And when it gets to the place where they have need, we've already established a relationship, so we can say, hey, it's looking like maybe you need a little additional support, but really we want to be the conduit with the families, and to be able to say, hey, your loved one, we're going to call you and talk with you and say, your loved one needs additional support. You're not here to see that, but we've seen it because we've met with them every month or every couple of weeks or every week, however long that would be.
And they have choices on that.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Okay, now first of all, I want to talk a little bit more about you too. You are in 3 cities from what I know right now. Is that still the same?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
great.
so you're in Peoria, Sun City West, and Surprise. You do free consultations with people. And you can call them, and I'm going to give you the number. Okay, I see what it is. So it's 623-201-3116, and you can call them and talk to them. Their website is yourfamilyextended.com. I love the name of the company. I love what you're doing because I too understand. I mean, if I didn't hear from my father, didn't call me back, had him on the floor. I had in my mind, had him on the floor like he was just, I'm sorry, but had passed away. That's the way I figured, right? And it always was, I'm fine. What's wrong with you? I'm fine. But until you hear that, your heart just goes bazonko. And I think that's what's wonderful is that you can go in there and have this relationship with the family members that are the ones that are worried, that don't live by. Not everybody has that luxury of that, right?
Right.
So let me talk about the different services that you offer too. Go ahead, I want to talk about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, Carol, really the thrust behind, and I appreciate you bringing just even context to the name, because for us it was that idea of understanding that there are those out there who have extended family who aren't maybe available readily to them, or have families of their own that they're navigating the busyness of life with. But we also understood there were people out there that just don't have family. They don't have people nearby. And so for us it was that that idea of coming alongside of people as extended family, and really bringing those types of tangible and practical supports. And really it centers around 3 different areas for us. It's the regular wellness checks, checking in with people, having the conversations, having the dialogue to say, how are you doing? When was the last time you checked your mail? Have you been in contact with your neighbors? And then it goes into some of the basic handyman services, helps around the house. We're non-medical. We're not there to try and try and address their medical needs. There are countless organizations that do a great job of that. But for us, we know that we can come in and keep them from getting on ladders and maybe assessing some of the trip hazards and the things that they could encounter on a daily basis.
I remember my father would call my brother who lived here, had to drive 4 hours to change the light bulb.
Yep.
You don't need that. And I think that's awesome that you have created this for the people out there that have the need, and a lot of people do. Their phone number to call is 623-201-3116. They do free consultations. They're in Peoria, Sun City, and Surprise. It's yourfamilyextended.com.
Amazing.
Was that?
You did good.
Oh, I did?
Like, yeah, watching that countdown.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so happy there. Do you see the difference?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna keep on going.
Great.
Okay, and we're still into the same types of questions. I'm gonna change them a little
Great,
bit.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to what you just said. So being a handyman. Okay, light housekeeping. You said, right? You do that. but we wanna keep it so that it's not, becoming part of the rest of the things that are already there, right? Right now.
Right.
When you go there, and let's say you were just checking on them and doing that's part of the service, that's a level whatever. But you found when they got there, they didn't seem like they had a lot of food in their refrigerator. Would you then take them to the next level of service, which would say we can go and we can get them, some food and bring it in or whatever? I'm just making that up, I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I think as soon as you see what the needs are, then you address it either by, let's spend some more time and we need to,
Okay.
do this extra stuff with
Right.
you, or let's schedule you an appointment for whatever, because it looks like you need to get these things done at your house, and so depending on what the need would be.
And you said bill paying too, correct?
Yeah, I
So-
mean, it is really like whatever, I think making sure that the family is always connected to, like, we're not just going in to deal with their money and their finances
Right.
and all that, but it's letting people know, like, it's cold in the house, or something's not right in the
Right,
house,
maybe they didn't, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
and asking them, not necessarily doing it for them,
I got it.
because
Okay.
I think there's there's things to worry about with that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you wanna be careful with that.
So you're watching them and seeing the things that they can't see because they're not here to see it.
Yes.
Okay.
It
And
is
then
the
you're
eyes
bringing
and
it to
ears.
they're bringing it to the attention to them, again, bringing it to their
Yes.
attention.
Yep.
Okay. Do you like the 30 better?
It's not, yeah, and
It's
I'm
a lot
glad
more
we did the
common.
15 first though, because it's, now we know a little bit more.
Welcome back. So we are having a lot of family in town this coming week, and that, this next month, of course, is gonna be also the same. It's all about family, and one of the things that we're talking about here is, how do you feel when, if you can't hear from your parents and you don't know what's going on, your loved ones or what have you? You ever get worried? Oh yeah, and when you do, you wish you could do something about it. You don't feel good until you've heard back from them or what have you. Now, we were talking at the break a little bit about some of the different things that you do, and it's, when you say being the eyes and ears for everyone out there, you really truly mean that. Because you're not there necessarily when you talked about bill paying. It wasn't about you doing the bills as much as you're saying, I don't think that the house seems a little cold, have you paid your bill lately?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you can check on those things, and then it's all about getting back to the families, the communication, that's huge.
Yes, yeah, we really feel like that's the biggest part, it's our mission really, is to make sure and ensure that families understand how their loved ones are doing, that the families know that they are doing well, or maybe they're in a place where they need additional support with other services that maybe it's not with us, but with other people that we can help, guide you to as a family. But we really ultimately want to make sure that the family's in communication with their loved ones, and that the eyes and ears are really the heartbeat of who we are, and within this company, we want to make sure that we are able to see, we are able to hear what your loved one is, seeing and doing and what they're saying, so that we can then help with that and say, oh man, you do need additional help, or have you thought about this service? This company is really great. Let's get them on board with
Resources.
you. Yes, absolutely.
I think it's interesting because I talk to a lot of people, and even people who have their family right there
Yeah.
don't always just see some of the things because they're too close to it,
Yeah.
right? So when you come in, you can see things. You're looking for what you know to look for, correct?
Yeah, I think that's a key point, Carol, because one of the things that we all struggle with when it comes to family is being involved, being too involved, and particularly for independent seniors, there are those moments where seniors are in that place where they maybe are needing additional support, but aren't wanting to be a burden to their family. And then conversely, we who sometimes are walking alongside of our loved ones are seeing areas they need that additional support, but don't want to overstep. And so having that third party, having that outside set of eyes and ears to say, hey, we are seeing some of those things that you're seeing. We are hearing some of those struggles, and really reinforcing those conversations for both parties brings the strength when there is a decision that needs to be made and when there is support that needs to be taken. And that's, I think, something that we feel strongly about is the ongoing communication and the ongoing conversation. Because when there is no communication, then like we said before, no news is not always good news.
Right.
And we want that communication to continue going both directions. And if it's somebody who doesn't have family, just having that extra set of eyes to say, hey, how are you doing, really?
So I know you have different, I don't know if it's a level of service, how you handle that, but how many times a week or a month, or how do you do that? How do you decide?
Yeah, one of the things we've tried to do is take the guesswork out of the follow-up and the communication with family. And so the way we've designed our services is really around a very simple subscription-based model. Our goal and our desire is to be in a long-term relationship with individuals and their families. And so what we like to be able to do is enter into that relationship in a way that is repeatable for them. And so we provide a no contract type of subscription service where once a month they can have us come in, do those check-ins, and during that time we can take care of things around the house, safety concerns. If they just need somebody to sit with them and have some conversation or do some meal prep, we do that. But also having that communication back to the family. And so the subscription model allows for that, where it can be a repeatable day, it can be a repeatable time. That can also happen multiple times a month or multiple times a week.
It's interesting that you're bringing this whole thing about what you do, because I recently overslept for something, and I am never late.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 or 5 years, never late. So what do you think they did? They called to have a well check on me, okay?
Yes.
I answered the door like, what? I didn't even realize I had overslept at that moment, but here's the thing that I also see what you're doing, is you're helping, because I happen to know that a lot of people, they call for these well checks to be done, and it does cost the city money, so you're also helping. And I just had a gentleman on recently, which I will connect you with, because you're doing what, what we need here, because we do have a lot of seniors that live here. And okay, all right, I don't want you to say anything, but yeah, I mean, I happen to do that, and they went and checked on somebody who was perfectly fine, right? Now, thank God, we do have those services, and that's neat, but they can't do it all the time, and it gets on them, and I believe it's a very high number of how they have to do that. So you're alleviating all of that for people too, which is awesome, because we do have such a high population here. So the benefits, obviously the benefit is, what do you call? Peace of mind.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would agree. I had to do some of those people checks, and it's really hard to make that call, but I do think that we are that middleman, that we want to be that middleman for families, so that we can ensure that we are seeing your loved ones, once a month or every couple of weeks, whatever it may be, and it really, it takes away so much of the stress when you know if you can't be there, that somebody will be there. And for my uncle, his neighbors saw things, the bank, they saw what was going on. They didn't know who to call. And so if you have an established relationship with somebody, when things are not great, great, or there's, man, maybe you even slip and fall and something happens and you need somebody, we are that,
The eyes and ears?
yeah, the eyes and ears for you.
The phone number to call them is 623-201-3116. Their website is yourfamilyextended.com. And I will say this, right now you are getting together with family,
Yep.
and you might just see things that might alert you to maybe think these people might be a good have that service to alleviate any fears or any things that you might, so that you can go back home
Mhm.
and enjoy your life, because it's hard. It's hard living far away from your parents, you know, I know that. Or I'm just saying loved ones, it could be whoever, you know. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is, I appreciate just what you're saying, Carol, because it's very personal for us. Obviously, we walked through the experience with Gretchen's Uncle Jim, but even as recently as in the past few months, we've had these same conversations with our parents. We spent some time with Gretchen's dad. He lives up in Idaho by himself and had gone literally for almost a year without a kitchen sink, because his kitchen sink was leaking, so he had it disconnected and didn't want to impose on anybody, and so he just left it. And we went in and said, hey, we can help take care of this. It took me 30 minutes to change out his faucet fixture, and it revolutionized his daily routines.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, even going into my mom's house a few weeks ago, I had just walked into the garage and noticed one of her shelving units. They've got these organizers in there, and the shelf was sagging. And I said, Mom, how long has that been like that? And she said, oh, I didn't even realize that was like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was able to bring somebody in to address that. But it was things that were not necessarily issues, but could become issues that would have fallen on her and probably hurt her.
Sure.
And so just that additional set of eyes and ears, you know, we come back to that place because it's really a hard thing for us, seeing our loved ones age in place and wanting to be able to do that, but understanding sometimes we get to those places where we can't do the things that we used to do.
Sure.
And so being able to come alongside of folks and provide those services really is something that drives us. And so, yeah, I appreciate you speaking about the family dynamic.
Yeah, and I want you to say how it works when they call you. What is the process? What happens?
Yeah,
after
initially when they call, we're going to have that initial consultation, and then set up time where we can go out to connect with them to begin to address the needs.
And find out how they can help you have peace of mind with your loved ones. What it's all about. Their phone number again is 623-201-3116. They do free consultations. Check them out. It's yourfamilyextended.com.